Why Buckner?
Why not? You know, I mean, what's there not to like? Awfully good football player, excellent fit, high character guy, great working knowledge of him. Simply, you know, our coaches, current coaches recruited him, know him well, know his family well. A guy that plays a high percentage of downs at the collegiate level. Yeah, you look at most of these guys coming out, D linemen, they play 50, 60% of the snaps. DeForest the last 2 years has played plus 80. And production, you know, a lot of production. 81 tackles, 36 unassisted, 9 sacks. You know, there's a lot to like.
The guy you see playing in the base defense as a rookie, or just sub packages only like Armstead last year?
Oh, Grant, you know, I've always said this. That's for the coaches to decide. You know, we had great value on him. Felt he was a strong fit for what we want to do. And at that point in the draft, with what was on the board, that was the highest valued player. And we'll let the coaches go to work with him. And he's got to come in and earn it. You know, we've always said that. You know, there's no free tickets. These guys, just because they're picked high in any round, that doesn't give them a free pass. The guys in that locker room got jobs and that they want as well. So he'll come in. We're confident in his abilities. We're confident in his character. We're confident in his work ethic and all that he brings. So, you know, now he's got to go do it between the lines.
People will compare him to Eric Armstead just because of the size, similarities. Is their game the same, or do they complement one another?
You know, they're a little different, but I think they do complement each other very well. But they're little different type of athletes. Obviously, both similar sized. When you look at DeForest, so that's a big man. He's 291 pounds at the combine. He's probably going to, you know, be in that 305 to 310 range when it's all said and done.
There was a video that surfaced early on of Laramie Tunzel allegedly smoking marijuana. He was available at 7. Obviously, he fell a little bit. Were you guys aware of that video, and did that impact your decision with that pick at all?
Well, I think every team was aware of the video. And, you know, we factor in everything, you know. So whether you get that information late in the process or you get it early in the process, it's all factored in.
And did you go into this pretty much knowing you were going to get back into this later in the first round? How important was that to get the 2 picks in the first round?
Well, you go into it with a plan. You know the players that you want, and you know you kind of follow the board. And where we had Josh valued, and what had come off the board, and where we were at, and what we need, it was a player that we had a lot of value in. Well, you know, we worked hard on him, and obviously, one thing that really impressed us about him was he coming to the pro day. He'd already done his pro day. He'd already done his work at the combine, and he comes here on the local pro day and he works again. You know, that just told us a little bit more about the young man. So he too, very talented. You watch another high character guy, another senior guy that went through the whole process. So there's just a lot of things to like, and a great fit. You know, we've said all along we want to run the football, and he's in our minds was the best run blocking offensive lineman, interior guy in the draft.
Where you jumped up to get him, were you fearful that you'd be facing him twice a year?
Well, I don't know, fearful if we were facing him twice. We looked at, you know, the next 7, 8 picks and who was sitting there and their needs. And for us, it just, you know, why not? We like the guy. We like him a lot. We have that kind of value placed on him. Let's go get him, and let's not sweat it out over the next 7 picks.
Trent, was going back in for quarterback thought about it all under consideration?
It was talked about, absolutely. It was talked about.
At a specific place, or did you have Garnett rated above all those guys, maybe?
Well, you know, I'm not going to lead into where we had guys placed on the board. That never is a positive, even a year after the draft. Let people wonder where we've got guys on the board. But, you know, safe to say that Josh was very highly rated on our board and someone that we felt could come in here and compete early on.
The way the quarterback situation is now is the same way it's been for months now, Colin and Blaine. Is that the competition you see going forward?
You know, we've said that all along. You know, the media's made a lot of speculations and things, but I think from the combine on, we've stated the same thing. Coaching staff's excited. We're excited. You know, we've got two guys that we feel, we've got 4 quarterbacks on this roster. They're all going to get a chance to compete. And coaches, you know, that's a question to really address with the coaches on how that thing, but I know this, they're excited to have all of them.
Just to be clear, when you said you talked about a quarterback, you talked about trading back into the first round to get a quarterback?
No, through the process of putting the board together, you're looking at all the different scenarios, what could be, you know, what ifs, you know, and you can't possibly touch them all because you really don't know how the board is going to fall off. The board held up well. The board fell, you know, there were a couple of surprises for us, but the board, for the most part, held up pretty well. And, you know, when we got into the early 20s, we had already made a decision or talked it through last week that, you know, if here are the scenarios, here are the guys that we would be willing to trade back in for, and Josh was one of those players.
Did you get close to trading out of the 7th spot? Did you get some offers?
We talked about it. You know, we talked about moving up as well. So we researched both. This year, for whatever reason, there was a lot more movement early on than normal, especially when you consider the first 2 picks going, you know, those trades happening so early in the process. So the phone was pretty active throughout the day, and certainly pretty active later on, because there were teams that were looking to get out of those 25, 26, 20, you know, the later first round picks.
Denver
Couple
taking
more?
the quarterback, does this mean now that Colin is off the trade market?
Yeah, you know, Matt, you bring that up all the time. We've answered this question a lot, okay? And we're moving forward with the guys that are on this football team, and Colin's on this football team and been a big part of this football team for a long time. So nothing's changed from the comments we made, Coach and I made at the Combine in April.
Trent, what's your reaction to Anthony Davis's tweets yesterday that
I have no
seem to be pretty focused on you? Are you moving past Anthony Davis at this point? Do you have to make any decision on him at all?
Well, there's no decision to be made. You know, he's not in the National Football League. He's retired. So, you know, there's no reason to even speculate on what we're going to do or what we might do. He's got to be reinstated into the league, and that's a process that takes some time. It's not, he doesn't put in and a day later he's reinstated. There's a process that he has to go through.